All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Think Business Live virtual edition. Jamie and I are looking forward to talking with Kristin Olson-Kott, the queen of wipes, responsible for initiating and maintaining relationships with clients from wipes.com. You guys have been really busy over the last year. You guys are the leading supplier of large count disinfectant wipes in the country. So it's great to meet you. Thanks for being on the show. Just kind of give us a summary of what the last year has been like for you and your business. It must have been insane. I think I've never wiped down or bought more wipes in my
Right?
life, especially during the first, my wife and I were laughing about it the other day because for the first 3 months of the pandemic, we were wiping down every piece of mail, every bag of Doritos, every grocery,
Yes.
it was insane. So welcome to the show. Thanks for taking time to talk to us. What has your world been like over the last year?
I guess I can sum it up by saying I spent a few days crying under my desk, not knowing what to do because the phone went from, me having to call people and everything to getting 50,000 emails a day and just, constantly ringing, which it's a good problem to have. You don't know how to do it because you're growing so fast, right?
Yeah.
We were a team of like 6 people and we manufacture our own wipes and here in the USA. So we were pretty busy because a lot of the big guys weren't answering their phones. So it was overwhelming to say the least. Yeah. I heard from everybody that I had ever met, I think, in life.
So. I think I was 1,000 of those emails at the very beginning.
Right? Yeah.
We have wipes.
Well, you couldn't get them.
For Orange Theory, we were like in a panic, right? We couldn't even function without it. And I know that at that time you were having trouble sourcing for a while because everything went, and not to your fault. I mean, it was just like nobody had them for a hot minute. And so panic ensued. I also want to say a couple more things about you as we're introducing you. You have I think a cult following on LinkedIn, and people hang on your every post, which are very funny and witty. And I think you have a great brand on LinkedIn that you've done a really good job with. You have an intern dog named Dolly Parton, which I love, and you love First Line. So,
right. So, my favorite. You pretty much summed up my life. Yeah. Dolly Parton and First Line.
Well, one thing I think that you have such an infectious personality on social media and your social media posts, which comes across in such an authentic way that has really allowed you to make connections and relationships. And so, I want to talk all things business with you. But I do want to spend a second on this social piece for you. And, are your posts intentionally that way, or are you just being you and putting it out there and having fun with it? You don't post a lot of pictures or a lot of quotes or anything like that. It's authentically you every day.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I could say this was all planned out and everything, but it's kind of whatever random thoughts on my mind. And I couldn't pretend to be normal if I tried. So it's kind of like, why even try? I'm just going to go with it. Maybe somebody out there will relate to my, insane way of doing things. But for me, I've never been a conventional person or followed a sales process or anything like that. It's just always been all about the relationships. And I just like people. Like, I like all kinds of people, and I just want to meet people, and I just want to sell and work with people that I like. So that's kind of, what I do on LinkedIn and social media is it's just about actually like making friends and making connections and just being with people that I want to be with and talking about things that I want to talk about. Like, nobody wants to hear about disinfecting wipes. Like, I don't want to hear about disinfecting wipes, and that's what I do for a living, right? I want to hear about your.
All right. So her phone died, but she'll be back in a second. But, Jamie, Kristin is a good example of, as she's tuning back in, a good example of, like you were saying, authenticity, but also, using LinkedIn for the platform that it's meant to be used for, which is a professional networking way to grow your business. And in a way that she separates herself from the pack, which I think is great.
Absolutely. I mean, people really do hang on. I think the most she posted about our podcast today, and I swear, I think she had like 80 replies.
She had.
That just doesn't happen,
Yeah, I checked it right before we went online. She had like 31 comments, 80 some likes,
Yeah.
And when what was fun is, humility really sells, I think. So,
For sure.
she said, "Hey, if you want to join and see me make a fool out of myself,
That's what she said. Yeah.
come join in." So, I think, her, falling off with her phone is probably within, her personality and what
Yes.
makes her so, lovable. Right. I mean, so hopefully she'll tune in, but,
Yeah.
but as we're kind of waiting for her, I think it's worth talking about LinkedIn, because I think a lot of times people don't know how to use LinkedIn. Clients that I work with who ultimately start using LinkedIn see a real big ramp up in their business. Here we go. All right, welcome back.
See, only me. I'm sorry.
Hey, no worries. No worries.
We were just talking behind your back a little bit. Don't worry.
No, we were talking about, Kristin, the power of LinkedIn. And a lot of times people don't know how to use LinkedIn, and you do. And clients, I'm a business coach, and clients that I work with that start using it even a little bit really start seeing significant growth in their business as this professional networking platform. And yet sometimes people are so rigid in it that they build their business, but not as much if they were just themselves. And so, there's, and so you are yourself. I want to talk about how do you see your business growing from the way you're using LinkedIn?
I mean, honestly, I get personally 99.9% of all my sales through LinkedIn. And what I do is I just think about, I have a very versatile product, wipes. So, I mean, the same wipe that can be used on a stripping pole can be used for an egg, can be used at a gym, So I can pretty much go after any industry I want to. And what I do, like when I wanted Orange Theory Fitness, I just reached out to Dave Long, who is their CEO. And because I genuinely wanted to know, like, how have you had two crazy successful businesses, and you're the same age as I, like, tell me your secrets. Like, what do you do? Like, I just genuinely want to know people. So I'll reach out to people like that. And the responses that I've gotten have just been, it's crazy, the people that, will respond to you when you just ask them a question. Or like, I tagged the CEO of Kroger and told him, like, every time I go into one of your stores, there's no wipes to wipe down the carts. And I'm right here. Like, your headquarters are, in Ohio. I'm right here in Michigan. Like, then he's like, okay, call this person. So it's just, you have to put yourself out there and not be afraid. I never send like some kind of, form letter, or, sometimes I'll do a little fun question like, would you rather get eaten by a bear or attacked by a shark? Just like an icebreaker like that. But you want to stand out. You want to be yourself. You don't want to, like, nobody wants to hear your sales 101 pitch, right? I don't want to. Do you want to?
No, it's so true. It's so true. I am actually always, I mean, if you think about it, because you and I know Orange Theory, I mean, and for those of you out there that do, it's an enormous company now. I mean, for you to get to Dave Long, who is worked for Orange Theory for 5 years. I've seen him at conferences, you know what I mean? I've never really had a conversation. So you're really bold. And I think that's the message. You're bold and unafraid, and go in there and make connections. And I would assume that you got to have a little bit of a thick skin and just say like, okay, somebody doesn't want to chat, then no big deal. But you're doing it authentically, which is really, really amazing.
Well, thank you. I mean, I've gone out before wearing silver pants and I dyed my hair, purple one day. Like, I've made some huge mistakes in life, like with fashion. So, I mean, I've made it, can I say ass on this? I've made an ass out of myself so many times. So it's maybe I'm not afraid to fail. It's like,
for sure.
What's the worst that's going to happen, right?
For sure.
Why? Yeah, go ahead, Jamie.
I just want to say, so back to like some kind of the business portion of things. You were kind of in the right business at the right time, wrong time. I'm not exactly sure how to piece that together with COVID. But what is the biggest thing that you learned this year from everything that you went through?
Just, you have to be 100% honest and open. You can't make promises that, you can't deliver. I'm 100% gonna, tell you up front if I can't help you with something other than string you on. And that's really hard. It's hard to say no. I will say that. Like, it's really hard to learn how to say no and how to say it in a way that, you can still maintain that relationship. And I've had to tell no, Jamie, like, and it's hard. People that have been loyal to you and that you want to help and you just can't, So It is. I mean, no salesperson or entrepreneur ever wants to tell a customer or potential customer no, right? But I mean, it has to be done, and it's just learning how to do it in the right way that you can still maintain that relationship. So,
Yeah. So what is the right way? How do you say no? Because I think that's really difficult for many salespeople to say no. And saying no is the best way sometimes to grow your pipeline and grow your business, especially when you know who your client is, what your, where you should be spending your time, where you should be spending, your resources. What's your formula for saying no and being okay with it?
Complete transparency and
Mm-hmm.
honesty, and just explain your situation. Like, listen, the supply has, or the demand has quadrupled. Is that even a word? Like, I can't even explain, the demand, but the supply chain remains the same, right? We didn't plan on this, so we didn't start making 5 million batches of wipes a night. So it's just, you're trying to help everybody out, when you can, and just explain that to them. You just have to be completely transparent, honesty, and say, listen, I'm going to try and help the people that have been my customers first and, been loyal to us. But of course, that's going to be in much smaller quantities. And and I'd like to have your business, and I'd do anything to have it, but you're going to have to be patient. So just complete honesty and transparency,
Yeah.
Sometimes you can say, yell at me if you want to. I realize I suck, but this is what it is.
Yeah.
So, at what point in the year did you kind of level out, or have you not? I mean, as far as leveled out, like supply chain being back to normal, of some sort of normal, feeling like you are catching your breath, or maybe you don't. Where are you at right now, I guess, is my question.
Well, we've tripled our manufacturing, so we have caught up with. If you need wipes, call me. I can give them to you. Anybody that needs them, we're completely. But yeah, it's still. I mean, a lot of people, I don't know the word for it. Hoarded. It was, I guess, like the toilet paper shortage, right? So a lot of people panicked, and they have so much of it. So we have some people that have so much on hand, and they don't know what to do with it. There's a lot of places that aren't open yet, so businesses are slowly returning. Like, we have. Like, all of General Motors, for instance, uses them in all their offices to wipe down their desks and everything with. So I think a lot of companies like that are only at like a third of people back in the offices. So, I mean, some things are slowing down. We anticipate May, June being huge, but we are caught up in supply. So we're starting to catch our breaths.
Yeah.
For a vacation. Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. There was an article in the Wall Street Journal yesterday that said herd immunity may happen by, hold on one second, that herd immunity may happen by April. Many people are saying that's absolutely not true. Herd immunity may be by the end of the year, and we'll start to see some normalcy probably by the end of the year. And then, some studies are showing by Q1 of next year. But it's in front of us. And so how does a company, what do you think, how is your company forecasting and projecting and planning, because you're tripling your manufacturing, you're doing so much. Are we going to all wake up one day and be like, okay, I'm done wiping every single thing in the world? You know what I mean? Like, how do you forecast? I don't know. How do you forecast your business with how the world has changed and will change again?
I mean, eventually, right? Hopefully, I'm not a scientist. I'm sure some people are shocked by that, but I don't know if this is going to end or if it's going to end. But I'm pretty, I'm certain that someday, hopefully, COVID soon will end. But I think this will be just a new way of doing, life, because what's going to be next, right? And I think people are going to just have a new way of doing things. And you're just going to take precautions, especially, in the workplace, and I mean, just everywhere. So I don't see this going away anytime soon, because who knows what could be next,
Yeah.
Crazy world that we live in. So I think this is just kind of going to be the new norm. I mean, of course, probably not as crazy it was March or April of last year, but I think this is just going to be the new standard.
Yeah.
With disinfecting and yeah.
Yeah. And hopefully taking your temperature when you go to school and places. I think that's a great addition to the world.
And maybe
so many times
learn to wash their hands. Fine.
Yeah.
We've only been, yeah. So.
Yeah.
John, do we have a couple minutes? We
have 5 minutes left.
Okay, I wanted to bring up something that I think is really important for the viewers. It has to do with customer service, and I'm going to tell a quick story about Kristin and I because I think it's really important, and it shows how much she values her clients and how well she handled something. So at Orange Theory, we were just having an issue with wipes. It was just a miscommunication. It wasn't that big of a deal. So I sent an email to Kristin, kind of like, I probably was a little tough on the email. And Kristin's like, let's sit down and talk. And we met somewhere, and she came in out of her extremely busy day and sat down and was real and heard me out and fixed the situation and was just super, like, she wasn't kind of just like pushing me off in an email or yeah, I'll get to it. I would say real kudos to you to say, like, I want to see you face to face. This is how I do business. It's about relationships, and really, really worked hard to kind of turn whatever, it really wasn't even that big of a deal, but turn it around. So just a lesson in service. And I guess I would love to hear, that was my take on it. I would love to hear how you handle service issues as they come up. Is it always like that with such, obviously some people are, and we talk about remote, some people are across the country from you, you sell all over. I guess, how do you handle it virtually if you aren't able to like sit face to face and meet?
No, I appreciate that. And I felt bad. I mean, mistakes are going to happen in business no matter
Sure.
what you do, right? And especially sometimes in the past, I have been overextended, I guess is the best word. And, you're going to make a mistake. So as I said before, you just have to be transparent and honest. And sometimes an email or a text just doesn't cut it. There's nothing like sitting face to face, if you have that opportunity with somebody that happens to be local, just letting them see in your eyes, listen, I am sorry, you were right. I screwed up and this is what happened. This is what I'm going to do to change it. And a lot of times I can't do that nationally or internationally, but pick up the phone. I mean, just hearing your voice, right, is a lot more meaningful, I feel, than giving somebody a text or, a quick email, right? You have to. It's all about that connection. And I mean, you messed up and own it. Like, take accountability. That's my biggest thing in life. Everyone's going to mess up, but be accountable, apologize for it, learn from it, move on.
Yeah.
But I think why you've been so successful is that, like you said, you're not following a certain sales process. You're doing things from your own gut and intention, and just doing what feels right to you, whether it be in sales, being bold, being out there and asking questions that don't feel salesy, to customer service where you're like, listen, I'm going to own it. I'm going to face to face with you and I'm going to make it right. And I think those are really important lessons. They obviously just come naturally to you, but to a lot of people, they don't come naturally. And I think that it's a learned skill. And so, learn it from Kristin, learn it from the Queen of Wipes. So,
yeah. Well, and just being yourself and the criticalness of that. And I love it. All right, Kristin, you ready for a quick speed round?
Sure. Uh-oh.
All right. Best piece of wisdom you've ever received?
It's not what happens to you in life, it's how you handle it.
Oh, good one.
Amen. Always. Yeah.
Amen.
I would say favorite client, you should say Orange Theory.
Obviously, Orange Theory fitness.
No, I guess, what's your favorite, the favorite book you've read? It can be, I don't know if you read books on business or not, but something that's kind of inspired you, a book or something, a show that's inspired you.
Well, my soulmate who passed away, unfortunately, is Shel Silverstein. So anything by him, but The Giving Tree. But I think the man's brilliant. He's fun. He sums up life for me.
For sure.
The number one thing, finish this sentence. The number one thing that everybody needs to do more of in sales is
have fun.
Yeah.
Seriously. If it's
Yeah.
not
You
fun,
gotta have
why
fun.
do it? Right?
Yeah.
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 Get fun. You have to live this every day. So I mean, we wouldn't think selling wipes is glamorous, but I'm excited to go to work and see who I'm going to meet every day and talk to my customers. And you have to have fun with it.
Yeah.
Sure.
I love it. Kristin, tell everybody how they can connect with you and buy your product.
Kristin, Kristin at wipes.com. Kristin Olson-Kott on LinkedIn. Queen of Wipes. I run LinkedIn Local too, if you guys ever want to do that and you're in the Detroit area. But Kristin at wipes.com is probably the best.
I love it. Well, I appreciate you taking time to be on the show. Thanks for sharing just the power of authenticity, being yourself, using LinkedIn in the right way. the importance of having fun, all great things. So thanks so much for being on the show. Think community, if Kristin can help you, please reach out. Jamie, I'll let you close it up.
Also, you did say wipes.com, so make sure you go onto her website, wipes.com. But thank you so much for being here, Kristin. It's a pleasure, and I'm glad to see you again face to face on this podcast. So hope to talk soon.
Thank you both for having me. It's been great, and thank you, Jamie, for having me. My bad. How did I forget wipes.com? website.
I think it was assumed, but
yeah, right. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Bye, Kristin.
Have a great